Hey everyone, today we bring you an inspiring interview with Elon Musk at the 29th Annual Barron Investment Conference, where he shares his vision for the future. In this insightful discussion with Ron Barron, Musk talks about Tesla's role in accelerating sustainable energy, the challenges of running multiple companies, and his bold plans for Twitter. He also opens up about his intense work ethic, innovation-driven mindset, and the impact of his ventures on humanity. Let's dive in and learn together.
So you're 51, and you do 16-hour days, and you work 7 hours a week, and you fly all over the place, and you go to these meetings constantly, and people constantly criticize you for everything. It's amazing to me. I mean, you're changing the world, and you're giving yourself. Why do you do this? So my wife says to me, "Why are you still working? Why are you still working? What are you doing here?"
Well, I think what I'm working on has an important effect on the future. In the case of Tesla, I think it's fair to say that Tesla has significantly accelerated the advent of sustainable energy. Before Tesla, no one was doing electric cars, and now, as a result of Tesla, I think almost every major car company in the world is building electric cars, and I think that's a pretty big deal. But there's still a long way to go to transition the world to a sustainable energy economy, and so we still have a lot of work ahead of us at Tesla, but that's our goal there. And then for SpaceX, I think it's important for the future to be exciting and for humanity's existence to be ensured over the long term. I think we must become a multi-planet species and a space-faring civilization. I think we're here like 4.5 billion years after Earth got started, 13.8 billion years into the age of the universe, and it's only now, recently, in the last 5,000 years, that we invented writing. I would say date the first civilization by when there was the first writing, which was in ancient Sumeria around 5 or 6,000 years ago. So we've basically just been here for a very brief instant.
A blink.
All of human civilization is a blink of an eye, if there was an eye, on an evolutionary time scale. So I think it's important we take the actions to ensure that the light of consciousness continues, and because we should really view consciousness as a small candle in a vast darkness, and it could easily go out.
So you have these missions, and somehow, whenever you have the mission and you have this vision, and you are a visionary, that somehow, whatever you do, you develop other businesses. So when you started SpaceX, you didn't think about satellites. When you started Tesla, you didn't think about robots. When you don't have enough people, you didn't think about robots. So you didn't think about autonomous driving. And without Elon, there would not be electric cars. Nobody who makes cars wants to make electric cars. They're being forced to make them. In fact, every time they sell an electric car, they sell one fewer car that they make money on. And they have all that money invested in plants that make those other cars. So nobody wants to have these cars except for him. And everybody thought it was going to fail. And one of the things you said is that patents are for the weak. And you share your patents. Yeah. And with other companies, of course, on the other hand, when they get your patents, you're 2 or 3 years ahead of them.
Well, I mean, I was joking about patents for the week. I think there is a role for patents. Let's say if some company has spent a lot of money developing a particular medicine and had to go through the expense of stage 3 medical trials, and then they finally get something that is approved, but where the drug itself is cheap to manufacture, then I think a patent in that case makes sense. Otherwise, no one would go to the trouble of doing stage 3 medical trials. So there are definitely roles for patents. In the case of Tesla, our goal is to advance sustainable energy, and we can't just do it by ourselves. We need the whole industry to go that way. So we gave them our patents for free in order to help them accelerate electric vehicles.
So it must be terrifying to other companies to realize that when we make cars, it's $39,000 in cost a car, and we're making $15,000, $16,000 in profit a car. And so we invest $7 billion, and we make $15 billion a year. I'm sorry, yeah, and 15, right, 15, a million cars, 15,000, 15 a million a year on a $7 million investment. Shocking. So no one else does that. And when and here you're telling us how you want to make cars for $20,000 a piece. How do you do that?
Well, we've not formally announced our next car program, so I can't talk too much about our upcoming vehicle program or programs that have not been announced, but we do expect to make cars that are more affordable than the current Model 3 or Model Y. So, and a big factor in this is, yeah. But I think by far the biggest factor is autonomy, and in terms of the value of a car, because right now cars get driven for about 10 or 12 hours a week, like maybe 1.5 hours a day, and but there's 168 hours in a week, and so if they were autonomous, you could probably the cars could drive for 50 or 60 hours, so you would see a 5-fold increase in the utility of the car, that can do autonomy. This is a really, really gigantic thing. It would also mean that we wouldn't need anywhere near as many parking lots, and this would also be helpful for the environment because you would need far fewer cars.
So I misspoke. It was a $7 billion investment for a plant that makes 1 million cars a year that makes $15 billion a year in profits. So you invest $7 billion and you make $15 billion a year. Who does that? And for a plant that makes things, manufacturing. And so the way this is accomplished is so you're doing it with casting right now. And casting half of the car, and you're going to soon cast the other half of the car. And other companies, why don't they try? Why don't they try to do what we're doing? In fact, one of the executives of another automobile company wanted me to introduce her to you, and you did that once at a meeting, and now she wants to come visit with her director of engineering, our plant in Austin. And I presume when I ask you, you're going to say, yeah, bring her on, because you innovate so fast, by the time anyone copies what we're doing, we're on to something else. What else is there? When you're casting, what else is there that enables us to make it cheaper? Are we eliminating a lot of other parts? Are we eliminating functions? What are we doing to do that? How would we sell a car that's so cheap?
I think the full explanation, or at least an accurate explanation, would take a long time, because first approximation, a car is made of 10,000 unique parts and process steps. And Tesla is really, I think at this point, probably the best at manufacturing in the auto industry, which I think what nobody was expecting.
Probably in the history of the world.
Probably. Well, I've got this first principles algorithm that I find to be very helpful in the design and manufacturing of anything, and people here may find it helpful. The first thing you should do is make the requirements that you've been given less dumb. Whatever constraints and requirements were given, they were to some degree dumb, and you want to make them less dumb. If you don't start with this, then you get the right answer to the wrong question. And the requirements must be given from a person who can explain the requirement, not from a department, because then you don't know who to talk to. Then step 2 is delete the part or delete the process step. This sounds extremely obvious, And yet, over and over again, we have found that parts were not needed. They were just put in there just in case, or by mistake, or there was a step that someone thought was needed, but was not actually needed. This sounds insanely obvious, but we've deleted so many parts from the car that did nothing.
They were just there?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can give you so many examples. One example was there were 3 fiberglass mats on top of the battery pack. They partially covered the battery pack, and I was on the battery pack production line, and it was the number one thing choking battery pack production with gluing on these 3 fiberglass mats to the top of the battery pack. And so this is the reason I repeat this algorithm myself is that I first did things backwards. First, I try to automate it. Then I try to accelerate it, just have this go faster. Then I try to simplify it, and only then did I delete it. Because it turned out that the team at Tesla that does noise and vibration minimization, so making the car quiet, thought that the fiberglass mats were there because of the battery safety team for battery fire prevention. And then I asked the battery fire prevention team what were they needed for, and they said, oh, noise and vibration. And I'm like, okay. So then we had 2 cars drive, one with a microphone in each car, and you could not tell the difference. So we went to all that trouble for a part that should not exist. And then another example was there was again, this was these were choke points in the entire production system. That's why I'm running around the production line trying to fix the production line, just like a maniac, sort of Tasmanian devil, just running around the factory like a lunatic. Let's see, we had the body production line at Model 3 was at one point stuck because we had a laser welding cell to weld a small cross-car beam in the passenger footwell of the front seats. And I'm looking at this beam, and I'm like, what the heck does that do? Because the entire factory is stopped, trying to get this laser weld cell to work. And I'm like, I can't imagine what a useful thing it could do. And then the production team said, oh, that's for crash safety. So then I called the crash safety team and said, is this for crash safety? They said, oh, no, that didn't do anything. We should delete it. It turned out to be totally useless. But they forgot to tell the production team. Honestly, a bunch of these things just feel like you're living in a Dilbert cartoon. Like, oh no, any given company, they should have what's your Dilbert ratio? Okay, it's not 0.
So is this you, or is this your
Dilbert quotient? Try to keep it low.
So is this you, or is this? So you do all these different things.
No, that's literally me.
So do you have?
This is not someone else who did this. I was living in the factory in Fremont, and the one in Nevada for 3 years straight. That was my primary residence. Not kidding, literally.
Did you keep the couch?
I actually slept in a couch at one point in a tent on the roof, and then, but for a while there, I was just sleeping under my desk, which is out in the open in the factory, and for an important reason. And it was damn uncomfortable sleeping on that floor. And always, when I woke up, I'd smell like metal dust.
We went to visit, and they bought him a new couch.
Yeah, but actually, I stopped using the couch because there's a little conference room and a couch there. I stopped using the couch, and I just slept on the floor under my desk, so during shift change, the entire team could see me. And that's important because, the team, if they think the sort of their leader is off somewhere having a good time, drinking Mai Tais on a tropical island, which I could definitely have been doing and would much have preferred to do. I'm not actually a masochist, I think. But the thing is that since the team could see me sleeping on the floor um, during shift change, with just not with nothing. They knew I was there, and that made a huge difference. And then they gave it their all.
So the focus is on always lowering cost and providing leadership. And this company, we're doing 1.5 million cars a year, but you expect to do 20. And so what happens in 10 years if you're not there? What happens in 5 years if you're not there? How does that work? I mean, are there all these people? So at all the engineering schools, the top engineering schools, the top choice of where everybody wants to work is Tesla or SpaceX. Those two places. So do we have all these people coming up and fighting each other for the job, or they're working together? How do you get people to say, gee, I could buy that real expensive house, but I'm not going to do that. Boy, I could go out on vacation. I'm not going to.
Well, we do have that problem a little bit. So, as a company has prosperity, and then people become wealthy, then for a lot of people, that once they become sort of independently wealthy, they just can't bring themselves to work, or they don't want to work, and that's totally understandable and no judgment. And so, I have a lot of friends who are extremely talented, and they had some success earlier in life, and they just decided, that was enough trauma. One of my good friend of mine saying, like, for starting a company is like eating glass and staring into the abyss. So when people tell me, like, well, what can you do to encourage entrepreneurs to start companies? I'm like, if you need encouragement, don't start a company.